Hi everyone, welcome to Buckle Up Podcast. I'm Natalia Earle and I'm a certified business and life coach that loves talking to people. I'm fascinated by humans and how our brain works. What is it that makes a decision good or bad, and how does that decision ultimately shape our path and destiny? Everyone loves to talk about success, but what about the flip side? How about adversity? Failure is such a big and often necessary part of life, and it's simply unavoidable. So I invite you to join me on this inspiring, honest, unpolished interview show with breathtakingly real conversations that go deep on setbacks and hardships that are part of the puzzle that ultimately lead to growth, discovery of inner greatness, and what makes us resilient. Grab your helmet and buckle up, people. It's going to be a bumpy ride. But what a ride it will be. Today's guest is Yvette Reyes, an attorney and a corporate and personal team builder. She has been practicing law in Florida since 1995. She's managing partner of REYES MILLER, a boutique law firm concentrating on all things family, with offices in Gables and Boca, Raton. Ms. Reyes is a family law litigator, mediator, and consultant, and has represented clients throughout the state of Florida from the Panhandle through the Florida Keys. Prior to establishing her private practice, Ms. Reyes served as an assistant state attorney in Miami-Dade County. She was involved in the investigation and prosecution of many high-profile domestic violence cases and tried over 50 jury trials, including many domestic violence-related homicides. Between 1999 and 2001, she was appointed by Jeb Bush to serve on the governor's task force on domestic and sexual violence and was responsible for training law enforcement on domestic violence issues. She has been a guest speaker at numerous community conferences and appeared on a variety of TV and radio programs discussing domestic violence and family issues. Hello, Yvette. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Oh my gosh, it's a pleasure for me to be here. I'm super excited.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you arrive at the place where you are today?
At the place where I am today, being interviewed by Natalia. So I've been practicing as an attorney for 27 years. Since 2001, I've had my own private practice doing family law, exclusively matrimonial and family law. And it's interesting how I got there because I was a prosecutor in Miami-Dade County for the first 7 years. And I dealt with primarily domestic violence. There's a lot of stuff I did around domestic violence. I used to train law enforcement on it. I was on the governor's task force on domestic violence. It was very dear to my heart. And for some reason, I thought, well, you know what? If I'm going into private practice, it sounds like family law would be ideal. Thinking, right, that it would be an easy transition. Very, very different, I will tell you, because in the criminal arena, there are people that have, at least many people that we encounter are people that have, one instance where something's gone wrong in their life and they're at their best, trying to show you that they're at their best. Where in family law, you have wonderful people that just are showing up as their worst, right? Everything is triggered, they're upset. And so it was a little bit challenging at the beginning because you're dealing with so many emotions, but I love what I do. I fell in love with it. I fell in love with being able to make a difference, not only for people, but with their families and future generations. So that motivates me and I love what I do.
So what are some of the biggest adversities that you have seen throughout of your career as a family law attorney that families go through?
So I have several pet peeves because I've been doing this for a little while. And I can, when you're in it, you can see the things that should be improved, right? And in a perfect world, we all sit around and we think there should be a solution, but it's not an easy solution because, well, people are people, right? Everybody has different backgrounds, cultures, experiences, traumas, methods of enjoying or having joy in their life. So it's a challenge, but I think the biggest one facing us right now is that where 50 years ago, divorce wasn't that common, it's very commonplace today. And I think the statistics now are like 40% of children are born out of wedlock, right? So now you have not just divorces, but you have paternity cases and people having children where they're not married. So that creates a whole other set of dilemmas. And so then we could do a whole podcast on paternity because that's one of the things that's dear to my heart. But I think the biggest one is having good information, right? Having accessible information. Not everybody can afford me. Not everybody can afford an attorney. Certainly not everyone can afford to have an attorney on call that whenever something's happening, they can reach out and get guidance, right? And so getting the right information, I think, is the biggest challenge we're having because people are making a lot of decisions based upon what they saw on TV, right? What their neighbor said, what a friend of a friend said, and they're taking sometimes advice from people that have never even been through a divorce or through the system.
How about for the families that are going through, family law issues? What would be one recommendation that you would have for them in starting the journey of the process?
There's so many. I'm not sure which one to start with, but first, lots of deep breaths. The number one advice I give my clients is, you're hiring me. I'm going to take care of everything from the legal perspective. I'm not a therapist, although there's a lot of emotional things that come with a divorce or with a paternity or custody case. So take care of yourself. Number one thing is take care of yourself, whatever that means. It's a very emotional time. Even people that have like what we call an amicable or uncontested divorce. Some people have got to the courthouse holding hands together to get their divorce. They're like best friends. That's fine. But even then, it's emotional. There's a lot of things that come up for people around getting divorced. There's a sense of failure. There's a sense of fear about what's going to happen to them or to their children. So there's a lot of emotional stuff that I'm not trained, what I mean? I'm not trained to help with, but I always say, I'm not a psychologist, but I practice, I play one on TV, right? Because we deal with so much stuff. So I think the number one thing is make sure whatever you're doing, you're taking care of yourself physically and mentally, because there's so many decisions that have to be made in that process that if you're emotionally a mess, you can't think clearly, you can't make rational decisions. Like sometimes I'll have a client who says, I don't care, he can have it all, I just want out of this marriage, I'll sign whatever he wants. Okay, but 6 months from now or a year from now, when you're not doing well and he's out with his new girlfriend and you don't have anything and you're having a difficult financial time.
So talk to me about your upcoming podcast. Tell us a little bit about it. I'm so excited.
Well, earlier you were talking about mentoring and I thought, yes, and you could mentor me in my podcast.
I would love to. Anything I can help you with. I would love to share my knowledge.
So for about, I think 7 or 8 years, I've been working on thinking about it, right? Just thinking about it. And then about a year ago, I said, okay, I'm going to put this into action. And just COVID hit and all sorts of other things, have been a bit of a challenge. But I have, my domain is lawmistress.com. And
love it.
And I have the Law Mistress channel as well on YouTube. So coming this summer to cell phones and screens near you, I will be having a Zoom podcast. And it's going to start off with being about family law, right? But the same way we're talking about lots of different things, that isn't just, hey, what do I do if I get served, right, with a petition for divorce? It's talking about all the little dynamics and the big ones too that affect the family, right? So because I said that I think that the biggest challenge we have is lack of information, I want to be one of those people that is going to get information to the masses, right? So you don't have to go hire an attorney at $500 an hour to be able to get some good information, some good accurate information or helpful information. So I'm super excited. We have our logo and we're working on the website, and hopefully we'll be launching by summer. By July is my goal. So I'm super excited about it.
And will you also have some guests that you will be interviewing?
Yes, I'll be interviewing forensic accountants, psychologists, therapists, vocational experts, all different kinds of people that we use